The air hung heavy with the stench of decay. It was October 17, 2009 in the quiet Belgian town of Vatem. Police, responding to a distressed neighbor's call, entered the apartment. The scene that greeted them was chilling. On the bed, her face masked by the brutal trajectory of 4 bullets, lay the decomposing body of Anne Derouck, or was it Carla St. Clair? Red-hot Carla, perhaps? The woman on the bed, her life extinguished in a brutal act of violence, was known by many names. To the world, she was a rising star in the pornographic film industry. To her family and friends, she was Anne, a bright young woman who had chosen a controversial path. Now, she was gone, leaving behind a tangle of questions and a life tragically cut short. The discovery of Anne Derouck's body sent shockwaves through the quiet town. Who could have committed such a horrific act? The answer, it seemed, lay within the apartment itself. In the living room, a self-inflicted gunshot wound marking his temple, was Stéphane Fontaine, Derouck's boyfriend and manager. A gun lay near his hand, a silent testament to the tragedy that had unfolded. Fontaine, still clinging to life, was rushed to the hospital. His survival painted a grim picture. He was the prime suspect, the only one who could answer for the death of Anne Derouck. The police faced immediate scrutiny. Neighbors reported days of frantic calls to the authorities. They had heard the sounds of arguments, a woman's terrified cries, and finally, a chilling silence. Why did the police take so long to respond? Were there missed opportunities to save Anne Derouck? The community demanded answers. The investigation into Anne Derouck's death was marred by accusations of police negligence. The delay in their response, a delay that might have cost a woman her life, sparked outrage and protests. The demand for justice was loud and clear, but would it be enough to uncover the truth behind Anne Derouck's tragic end? Anne Derouck, born in Liège, Belgium, was a girl of many dreams and aspirations. Her intelligence was evident from a young age. She excelled in her studies, harboring a passion for journalism. Her future seemed bright, full of promise. Yet, life, as it often does, took an unexpected turn. Financial struggles forced Anne to make difficult choices. She dropped out of university, her journalistic dreams put on hold. Desperate to support herself, she took a job as a stripper. It was a world away from the newsrooms she had envisioned for herself, but it was a means to an end. It wasn't long before Anne, seeking greater financial stability, ventured into the world of pornography. She adopted the stage name Carla St. Clair, later changing it to Red Hot Carla. She quickly gained notoriety, her striking looks and confident demeanor attracting a large following. She starred in online webcam shows, produced her own content, and eventually graduated to mainstream adult films. The bright student who once dreamt of reporting the news had become the news. Her transformation was complete, but at what cost? Anne's foray into the adult entertainment industry was met with mixed reactions. Some saw it as a betrayal of her intelligence and potential. Others admired her entrepreneurial spirit and her courage to take control of her life. Anne, however, remained private about her reasons for choosing this path. She rarely gave interviews and kept her personal life fiercely guarded. The only constant in her ever-changing world was Stéphane Fontaine, the man who would become her manager, her lover, and ultimately, her alleged killer. Stéphane Fontaine, a man with a troubled past, entered Anne Derouck's life at a vulnerable time. An ex-convict with a history of alcoholism and bank robbery, he was 10 years her senior. He recognized Anne's potential and quickly positioned himself as her manager, taking control of her finances and online presence. Their professional relationship soon morphed into a romantic one, but it was a relationship shrouded in secrecy and whispers of Fontaine's controlling behavior. Fontaine's criminal past cast a long shadow over their relationship. His struggles with alcohol were no secret, and Anne confided in colleagues about his violent outbursts. There were rumors of a car accident, Fontaine behind the wheel, drunk, with Anne lucky to escape with her life. The whispers grew louder, painting a picture of a relationship teetering on the edge of a precipice. Anne, however, remained loyal to Fontaine, defending him to those who expressed concern. Was it love, fear, or a dangerous combination of both that kept her bound to him? The truth, as it often does, lay hidden in plain sight. On October 9, 2009, just days before her death, Anne penned a chilling note. In it, she detailed Fontaine's escalating violence and threats against her life. She named him as the likely culprit should anything happen to her. This note, discovered during the investigation, became a crucial piece of evidence. It painted a stark and terrifying picture of the reality Anne had been living in. A reality where fear was a constant companion, and escape seemed impossible. Stéphane Fontaine survived his suicide attempt but emerged from the ordeal a changed man. The bullet that ripped through his brain left him with permanent damage. He suffered from amnesia, unable to recall the events leading up to Anne Derouck's death. He was blind in one eye, a physical manifestation of the violence that had unfolded in that apartment. Despite his claims of amnesia and his diminished mental state, Fontaine was deemed fit to stand trial. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence: the note Anne had written, the testimonies of her colleagues, and the undeniable fact that he was the last person to see her alive. Fontaine, throughout the trial, maintained his innocence. He claimed to have no memory of hurting Anne, expressing remorse and confusion. His defense attorneys argued that his amnesia made it impossible to determine his intent. They painted a picture of a man devastated by the loss of his lover, a man incapable of the brutality of which he was accused. The jury, however, was unconvinced. In March 2012, Stéphane Fontaine was found guilty of the murder of Anne Derouck and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Justice, it seemed, had been served. But had it? The trial, while providing a semblance of closure, did little to answer the lingering questions that haunted the case. What truly transpired in that apartment on the night of Anne Derouck's death? Did Stéphane Fontaine act in a fit of drunken rage, or was there a more calculated motive behind his actions? The amnesia, while convenient, left a gaping hole in the narrative, a hole that may never be filled. And what about the police? Did their delayed response cost Anne Derouck her life? These questions continue to linger unanswered, a testament to the complexities of a case that captivated and ultimately horrified a nation. Anne Derouck's story is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the hidden dangers that can lurk behind closed doors. It is a story about the dark side of ambition, the price of fame, and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. It is a story that, despite its tragic end, leaves us with more questions than answers. Anne Derouck, the bright student, the ambitious entrepreneur, the victim of a brutal crime, deserves to be remembered. Her story, in all its complexity and tragedy, serves as a reminder that behind the gloss and glamour, behind the carefully constructed facades, lies a truth that can be both heartbreaking and horrifying.